Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today we're going to be visiting a fantasy world in which we are adventurers mastering the elements. This is, in English, Glow. This is a dice-driven game in which each round you are going to be drafting a new character to join your party. You are going to be rolling some dice, triggering specific combinations on your characters, and then also using those characters to traverse the board and visit different villages. That's basically what you are doing. At the end of the game, you are going to score points from a few different things, and the most points, of course, is the winner. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to show you on the table here what the game looks like, how it plays, and I'll see you on the other side. Here we're going to be taking a look at a game for 3 players. Before you begin setting up the game, though, you want to decide what side of the board you'd like to use. You can have this side here with these different locations that you're traveling through, or you can have this side with different islands and little boats that are going to be moving around. They are both very much about traversal, moving to different locations and scoring points along the way, all right? So I'm just going to focus on the one side over here for our overview. Everybody begins with 10 on the score track, and this is basically bursts of light is what you're scoring. And then everybody has one little traveler that begins down here in the corner. We've randomized these dice. We've shuffled up the deck into an A pile and a B pile below that. We've flipped over 5. Everybody gets a starting character. And the starting characters are going to give you some dice of these larger dice over here set up to the side, possibly an ability across the bottom, and then bursts of light to be scored at the end. So this one gives you 3 large red dice, 4 points, but that's it. This one gives you 2 orange dice, 3 bursts of light, so 3 points, but it also has a built-in ability, and so on, okay? This one has a bigger ability, 2 dice, but only is worth 1 point at the end of the game. So we're going to go ahead and take something just real simple right now. Everybody gets one of these randomly, or you can pick. I'm only going to have one area for a player for the example, but of course everybody would have their own area. And then you get the dice that you would normally acquire with your opening card. So we're taking a look here at 3 red dice. These are going to show all of the different symbols, and then the red dice happen to have 2 of the red symbol, this flame, okay? Whereas the orange die is going to have 2 of the orange symbol. So pretty straightforward, except for a couple of variations on that. Once that's done, we're going to be going through a number of phases each round until the game is over, and the deck will run out. The game will be completely over, okay? And they have cute names like morning, late morning, afternoon, evening, things like that. I'm not going to worry about what the phases are called. Let me just walk you through it. So the first thing we're doing is, starting from the start player, who has a token for that, we are going to be drafting one of these characters and the dice associated with that character, okay? So, I'll be the start player, and I think I want to take, I think I'm going to take this one right here. So I get these dice, I add them to my current pool, and I take the character and put it in front of me. The second player is going to take these, and they're going to take that character. And then the third player is going to take this one right here, and they are going to take these characters. Once that's done, anybody who is left is going to be discarded over here to the cemetery. And then we move on to the next phase, which is all about rolling the dice. So I'm going to grab all of my dice, and I am going to roll that. I'm going to do that right here. There we go. So this is what I rolled. And now I'm going to check what my cards do, the abilities that may trigger, and see if I'm happy with this roll. So this one, for example, which is my only ability right now, says 4 of a kind, so 4 of the same color, are going to kill this character and give me 10 points. This character also happens to have a firefly up here, firefly symbol, which is another way in which you can score victory points at the end of the game. All right? So I take a look. I've got 3 red ones, so that's not bad. And so perhaps I do want to attempt to get more red ones to possibly trigger that. But I also now want to decide what I might want to keep because of the board. You see, there's going to be, after this phase is over, and this is simultaneous, by the way, everybody rolls the dice, and then they can decide to re-roll, and I'll show you the re-rolls in a sec. But you also want to keep an eye on what the board is doing, because I'll be able to use these symbols to move around on the board after all this is over. Now, if I want to re-roll, that can happen from one of three things. A character shows me in the corner that I have a free re-roll per round. I can spend a re-roll token that some characters are going to give me, or I can move back on the track to the next spot that has a re-roll symbol. They are very close together down here at the bottom of the track, but as you can see, the higher up you go, the more spaced out they are. So if I am at 51 points, and I'd like a re-roll, I have to scoot back to 44 points. And when you re-roll, you can re-roll 1 or 2 dice, one time, and that's a re-roll, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take a re-roll. Let's say I'm orange, okay? I scoot back to that spot, and I'm going to re-roll only this one right here, hoping for a red. I'm going to re-roll that, and look at that. I got it. Fantastic. I am done with my roll. Once this is all done, then the players are going to resolve all of their characters. So I'll take a look at what's going on over here. This one has no abilities. This one says 4 of a kind. It dies, and I get 10 points. Great. I have 4 of a kind, so I'm going to move up from 9 to 19 right there. And that's it. Now, these dice would not be locked by this card. If I had another card that also used red dice, I could use them on that one as well. And these have all sorts of abilities in which they give you reroll tokens. They give you the feat tokens, such as this one here. They are points at the end of the game, but they have another in-game use. Or they are these fireflies, all right? So there we go. I am done activating that. I have to discard this one because it's nuked. And all the players would do the same thing. And then we go to the traversal phase, in which we're going to be moving around the board. I'm going to be using symbols to move around on these different paths. Most of them denote that you need that thing to move to that space. So I'll go ahead and do that. And you set them aside as you're doing this. So I'm going to begin. I start here in this empty space. I go there for a red, and I'll set that aside. I'm going to go there for another red. I'm going to go there for another red. And I'm going to go there for this water symbol. Now, to walk into the spot, I would need to give up a foot token, and I am going to gain 1 firefly, and this says right here 5 points, so 5 bursts of light. If I walk all the way in there, I don't have the foot token, so I couldn't do it. But if I walked all the way in there and I choose to stop moving for the round, I am going to bring my little hut here, my little house, and place it there. And at the end of the game, I'm going to score as many victory points as where my house is. This will stay here, and I'll be able to continue moving later on. If I get into a better position later on and choose to stop moving for the round, I can move that up and get more points, okay? But I haven't done that yet. I'm sitting right here. And then these players, maybe this one walked up here, and maybe this one walked to there, all right? And then once that's done, then we do cleanup. And the cleanup is going to entail everybody putting their dice back onto this board with whatever was rolled on them. So these players obviously would have re-rolled some things. Let's say they ended up with that. And so we put everything back. I'm going to change this just a little bit. All right. So again, you do not re-roll these and place them back. You put them back with whatever was on them. So this one goes here. These 2 also had red. These 3 had that water symbol. This one had the cloud symbol. All right. These are mine. And then if there are any empty ones, then you are going to put one of these feat tokens on there. The other ability that the feat token have, as I mentioned, is that you can spend them as a wild to traverse on the board. So if I had been missing one of these red symbols, I could have done red, spend the feat to move in here, and then the water symbol to move in there. We are going to reveal new cards. We are going to go back up to the top of the round, passing the start player, all of that, okay? So there we go. As you can see here, there are a variety of symbols. This one is for every orange, you're going to get 1 victory point. This one is if you rolled no clouds and no fire, you get 6 points. And so on. This one's actually a negative ability. For other people, anyway, it won't affect you if you have this card, and it brings this black die into play, which is a negative die. It's an evil effect. So there you go. You continue doing this until the deck is gone, and then you score up. So what are you scoring? Well, you score wherever you are on the track. You are going to score the number of feat tokens that you have. You are going to score any points that are on your characters. So, I have 4 here from the first character, and then however many I have, I add all that up. And then you check how many of these fireflies you have. If you have at least 1 per character in your party, then you are going to get a bonus amount of points. I believe it's 10 points, okay? If you do not meet that threshold, then you don't get any points for that. So it's another thing you can pursue. And you add your location on the map. If you made it all the way out here, for example, 20 more bursts of light. Whoever has the most points in the game is going to be the winner. And that's pretty much the game. So let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. And so that is Glow. I have to say this is very much my favorite style of game. A game which is, you could call mid-weight. One that is very visually striking, whether you like that or not. I think it makes a bold stand. And it's one that has a nice mix of, luck and then things you want to achieve and choices you're making, things you have to then change from because the things that you were attempting to do did not go your way. I like all of that. Wrapped up in about 45 minutes or an hour. It's the kind of game I really enjoy. And therefore, I think this one makes a lot of good steps along the way, and I really, really do like it. My only drawback here, which is not tremendous, but I think it's a bit of a weird and just not something I can really latch onto, is the theme. So the theme is, again, adventurers trained to master the elements. I'm not really sure what that's about. They give you a whole write-up at the beginning of the rulebook about your little character and there's like 2 pages of fluff, flavor text. But it is a bunch of kind of nonsense. It's not a particularly strong theme that you are then going to turn around and utilize in the game, okay? It doesn't really help you teach the game. If you are someone who really enjoys sort of diving into a game, perhaps you'll get into the ethereal nature of this whole little fantastic world that they've come up with here. And so, therefore, I'm not giving this a thumbs down. It does not get in the way, but the theme is not something that's very easy to grasp or even utilize to help make the session more fun, okay? Everything else, I like. The aesthetics. This game is stunningly beautiful, in my opinion, okay? And again, you might not like the artwork. I think it's fantastic. I love it. The bursts of color in this monochromatic world, the dice, and the fact that they are so just so beautiful, and everything is so stunning, and the contrast is so captivating. I really like the way this looks. Card quality could be a little bit better. They do have dark edges on the back, and so they're showing some nicks. That's unfortunate. I wish they were a higher quality set of cards. But the dice are very good. The printing with some spot printing and everything. I mean, the whole thing is a beautiful production. The replay value is good. I think it scales quite well. There are the 2 sides of the board, so that's not going to be a problem. And then, of course, which characters come up, the sort of party you end up drafting, the round-to-round variability of how many dice you have, that's going to lead to a nice amount of replay value. The game arc, I like it. I think as it progresses, you're going to focus on different things. Things like avoiding characters in your group that clash with one another. One triggers for every orange, you get something, and then this guy over here wants you to have rolled no orange. You should probably not have both of those. But that's obvious. There are other things to take into consideration as well. How much do you focus on the board and traveling on it? How much do you focus on synergy? Do you go for those risky characters that might hurt you if you roll something specific, but they're worth a bunch of points? Or they give you a free built-in reroll, things like that. So good game arc. The ease of play, symbols are used very well in this game. There are a couple of special cards, which are basically unique, and they're explained on their own in the back of the rule book. So the whole thing, the usability of it, the ease in which you are going to learn and play the game is very high. I will say, and I guess I could throw this in here as well, the ease of play and the turn structure, there is a lot of... this game has a ton of simultaneous phases, which therefore means that there's just not a lot of interaction between the players. You draft the cards, and obviously that's in order. But then after that, I'm rolling dice, selecting if I re-roll, triggering my characters, basically in a bubble. So if you're someone who wants a lot of interactivity in the game, you're not really going to get that. You sort of go up against each other, do your draft, race to here or there, but that's basically it. You don't block each other on the board. You can visit the same village as someone else. So there's not a lot of that, all right? Be aware of it. Maybe you want a game that has a little more confrontation, even if not necessarily confrontation, just, watching each other a little bit more. There's not a lot of that here. Lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. The dice can be very swingy, okay? There is an action, which I did not explain in the overview, which is you can spend 3 reroll abilities or tokens to set a die to whatever you want. But it is a heavy, heavy cost. It's very punishing. So that's not going to mitigate, I think, the luck of the dice too much. But with that comes adaptability, right? Which characters you have. And the longer the game goes on, the less that luck is going to be important, because you are, or should, have characters to utilize a wide variety of dice rolls. That's how you mitigate that, right? So it's a long-term mitigation as opposed to mitigating a single turn. Doing the best with what you've got is a big part of the game. So there you go. That is Glow, some of my thoughts. As I said, I really enjoy it. I think it's a beautiful game. I think it is attractive. It is engaging. The dice rolling, the turn, sort of, the ease with which you play each turn, the few little things from which you gather victory points. It's the kind of game you want to bring out to the table, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy to join because of the way it looks and just sort of the attractive factor in the game, but then they're going to have a great time rolling dice and trying to progress as you are playing. You're going to blink, game's going to be over. It's not a game that outstays its welcome. I like all of that very much. This is a keeper in my opinion. If you tend to like the kind of games I like, I think you're going to like this one. This is going to get from me an 8.5 out of 10, which means it gets a seal of excellence. Very cool. Again, this means Glow in English. I have seen a cover that says that floating out there. You saw it in the intro of the video. So I don't know if that's soon available or available now. This copy here is in French, but if you want to get your hands on it, look for that. Glow. There you go. That's it for me. Again, awesome game. Beautiful, enjoyable, and hopefully you will enjoy it as well. All right, everybody. My name is Zee Garcia. I'm going to see you on the next one.